Hello and welcome to this month's edition of Meeting with the Manager. I'm City Manager Erik Tungate. I have the special honor of welcoming in our Mayor Pro Tem, Angela Diggs-Jackson. And as always, I have the distinct privilege of welcoming back our Director of Public Safety, Director Steve Cooper. On this month's show, I'll be discussing the future of the City of Oak Park with our Mayor Pro Tem. In order to understand our future, it's important that we understand how we got to where we are today. Among other things, I'll be having a very key discussion with one of the people that is in a very key leadership role here in the City of Oak Park. Now I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome in our Mayor Pro Tem, Angela Diggs-Jackson. Welcome.
Hey there, Erik.
Thanks for being here.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to invite you in as my guest this month because I wanted our residents to get a better understanding of, you've been on council for quite a long time.
Almost 8 years. Not quite a long time, but it's a long time.
It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And as part of that 8 years, I think, there's been tons of ups and downs. I think we know that the economic crash in 2008 was a significant event.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see, in that same amount of time, you've presided, you've been in a leadership role here. How do you see, in your opinion, the city handling those things, and what do you see some of the challenges for the future for the city?
Okay. Let me just say this. You say up and downs, but it really hasn't been that many downs in Oak Park. We have kind of rolled with the flow of, of the economy. And I heard someone say once, and I totally agree with what they said, is that Oak Park is probably one of the most efficiently managed cities in the state of Michigan. And the only reason that we had the issue in 2008, 2009, or whatever, is because we had that perfect storm of financial, economic conditions that happened. And it was one of those things that, in general, people couldn't forecast. You could not forecast, the foreclosure issues, and then take that, add that to the property tax cap and the what is that called, proposal Headley and proposal A. You could not, you couldn't really put all that stuff together the way it's been in the last few years. So no, I don't think that Oak Park has had a lot of downs. I think that we have been able to cushion it so that we can, if there are trends that trend down, we can do that in a soft kind of a way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know I would agree, we've certainly handled those things in a very efficient manner. And when there's been downs, we've managed to the downs. We've had to make, unfortunately, a lot of cutbacks, and like many, many other cities, not just in the metro area, but across the nation. One thing I wanted you to speak about, getting a little bit into the political arena, but you mentioned some of the structural stuff. And so, I've said this in the budget message, I've said it many times in public before here, but people don't realize that our revenue to the city is predominantly determined by taxable values.
Taxable values, that is so right. And when your taxable value goes down, the revenue to the city goes down.
Yeah.
And when the revenue to the city goes down, it's up to us to, tighten our belt as much as possible, and still try to offer the same services that we have been offering in the last, 50 years in Oak Park. But I think that, as I said before, the city is well managed most of the time, and when we're not managing forward like we normally do, we do a really good job of catching up and putting things back on track. What was the second part of your question?
Well, I was just talking about the structural deficiencies and how that's a significant part of our budget. And if you were in the private sector, if I told you you were a small business, for example, I told you we're going to take away 35% of your revenue, well, you'd have a major issue ahead of you there. You
would, but the things that we've been trying to do in Oak Park in the last 8 years that I've been here is to restrict some of our spending without having it affect the citizens. And I'm proud to say that that's happened. We have not had anything that is, obviously a problem for the city of Oak Park. We still have, very good trash pickup, very good leaf pickup, very good snow removal. We still have our offices open to people, to citizens that come in at any time. They still get friendly, courteous, efficient services at our counters. We just continue to provide those services, no matter how strict the dollars get.
Absolutely. And I know, one of the things that, there are two ways really, as I've said many times, to deal with these kinds of situations, and this is the declining revenue situation. Either you can manage the losses, or you can manage the losses and provide a plan for growth. And one of the things that, along with the rest of City Council, you authorized me to do was to provide a plan for growth for the city. And a lot of folks don't realize that Oak Park didn't have a traditional economic development function until recently.
That's true. That's very true. And I think one of the things that's scary for most people, particularly in a down economy, is when you're talking about growing. And quite frankly, if you look back on history during the time of Roosevelt, during the time of Kennedy, in order to make the economy grow, in order to make the economy expand, you have to think about growing your operations, growing your business. And that's what when we talked to you, Eric, about economic development, we thought this is what we need to do now. And I don't think that Oak Park is going to get any more restricted in finances at this point. I think we're only going to grow from here. And I think though it looks scary, that we need to go ahead and put those feelers out there. We need to go ahead and put those things in place to put us in the forefront of economic growth in the future. Sure,
and that includes, as I've said too, that it's not just in the commercial districts across the city. While that is a main focal point. I mean, there's plenty of ways that we can assist the neighborhoods grow and fill in some of the vacant housing and so forth. But I wanted you to speak about the neighborhoods because as I've been here since August of 2012 now, and as I came in, one of the things that I immediately noticed was the strength of our neighborhoods. And I want you to speak about that a little bit because that seems, I keep hearing this and I say it, we have good bones. And that's our leading bone, if you will.
That is the neighborhoods and the neighborhood leaders. Oak Park has about 12 neighborhood block organizations, and it's really kind of unusual, and it's kind of specific to Oak Park in Oakland County because not a lot of people, a lot of cities have that infrastructure of neighbors and individual citizens who are willing to keep their neighborhoods straight, to make sure their neighborhoods are clean, to make sure their neighborhoods are blight free. And we do have that here in Oak Park. The neighborhoods are extremely important to keeping the city in a condition that draws families, that will draw businesses in. In the future, I think that's going to be very helpful in drawing businesses in.
Oh, without question. And what role do you see us playing? You look at the southern Oakland County communities, and my sense is we really have a unique position within these communities. What role do you see us playing within that area?
I think we're a leader. I think we always have been a leader. The cities that surround us we have probably the best streets program in this little area. We make sure that you have a safe and efficient road to drive on, and that was not by accident. Years ago, about I want to say maybe 9 years ago, we put into place a regular roads repair maintenance program, and it just cycles every year. Like you saw that we do the sewers, we do the sidewalks, and the incidents of slip and fall or people suing the city because they fell into a pothole. Those things just don't happen in Oak Park. Right. It's a small percentage of those kind of things happening, and we also pay attention to what citizens point out to us. If there's a road issue, if there's a sidewalk issue, if there's a blight issue, and citizens point it out, we pay attention to that. And I think that I and most of council feel like the citizens, they're our first line communication, our first line soldiers out there, letting us know what's wrong with the community and also giving us advice and tips on how to fix the community.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I think if they don't know yet, but I know that you've decided not to run again for office.
Yeah, I have. I have decided not to run again for office. I think that when I first signed up to run for council in the city of Oak Park, I did it because I felt that there needed to be more communications. I did that because I felt that they needed to have a perspective of a person who is a minority and also a woman on the council. And I think that I've been pretty much successful in getting those things to be prevalent with council. But I've always felt that 2 terms is really enough. I think when you have people who stay on anybody for 10, 20 years, it begins to get a little bit stale. They have to, you have to remind yourself that you got to bring something to the community. It's not really about you continuing to keep that seat or continuing to be that person who's on council, who's on, as a state rep or a county rep or whatever. It's about what can you contribute to your community at the time. And I think that long terms, to me, they just don't foster contribution or a meaningful contribution for so long. So yeah, I'm not running again. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be sitting down, I'm going to be out of community service. It doesn't mean that at all. I continue, right now I continue and will continue to be within service of my community.
Would you like to tell us what your future plans are then?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is have an evening at home. That's one of the first things I'm going to do. I mean, I have meetings probably 4 nights out of the week, and I would like to be able to actually cut my grass, which I've never done myself. So I think I'm going to do a few things that, give me some time to relax. I got some travel on tap. I think my last day on council is probably November 14th. November 15th, I'll be gone. I'll be on a trip. And then after that, I'm going to do some teaching at a local university in government.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say on a personal note that I've in a very short career, I've spent quite a deal of time working with a bunch of variety and a bunch of different politicians, and it's been an absolute honor and privilege to work with you. So,
well, thank you. But I'm not a politician. Don't call me that. I think that what I am is I think what I am is a volunteer, and I think I'm going to turn my eyes onto something else. I actually, when I started this, I stopped being a reader, a teacher for the Oakland literacy program, and I think I'm going to go back to that as well.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah. So.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me this month, and I know we've got a little bit of time before you depart us, but. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to do some weird things in the next couple of months.
Well, thank you again for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Eric.
As always, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome our Director of Public Safety, Steve Cooper.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for joining me, sir. I wanted to spend just a few moments talking about, I know last month we talked about your staff moving into the new public safety building, but could you give us an update on that, and is it going well, and what are your new digs like over there?
Sure. We are partially moved in. So we have, like I said, our administrative staff, which includes myself, the deputy director, our fire marshal, who's the administrative lieutenant, and our investigations bureau. We are completely moved in. We have most of our boxes unpacked. We're kind of working through some of the little nuances of being in a new building, but everything is going extremely well. The building is very nice. Like I said, you've been through it, I know, on more than one occasion, and we are very, very happy and just ecstatic about the new location. Now, the rest of the staff is anxious as well to transition over into the new, city complex, but it's probably not, like I said, not going to be until they're looking at August. So they got their bags packed and they're ready. They're waiting at the door to slide in as soon as we give them the okay. So
that's great.
We're happy.
Yeah, they're impressive spaces. I know it's especially when you contrast that and you go back to the old spaces and you go to the new and you really see the difference. And again, the effort is to make things as clean and efficient as possible. A couple things, and I know we talk about this every month, but can you give us an update on some crime trends and things that you're seeing? School being out now, and what are some of the things that you're seeing out there?
Right. As far as the crime trends, one of the ones that we've noticed recently is, we call them LFAs, what they actually are larceny from vehicles, where you have a perpetrator going into a vehicle stealing valuables. And the common thread that we've noticed with this is that vehicles are left unlocked.
Yeah.
And that is probably 99% of the vehicles that are are the ones that are left unlocked. So you'll have the perpetrator up and down the street, and they're looking for an easy mark. If you're leaving valuables, cell phones, computers, shopping bags on the in open view, they'll come by, pop the door, and go in there and remove what they can, change out of the coin holders, whatever they can find that they can easily grab and just walk away with. And we've told our viewers and our residents many, many times that one of the things that we are asking is that they, just do a little simple thing and lock the doors. We were fortunate. We have recently made an arrest, and we believe this person was responsible for multiple thefts from vehicles. And this happened, late June, where we had a resident called and said she saw a subject walking down the street, and all of a sudden, she lost sight of him, looked back up again, and then there he was, rummaging through her vehicle. We got the call, quickly got officers into the area, located him, several blocks away. But due to, her call and her, like I said, being a great witness, we were able to identify this guy as the one who was responsible for the thefts, arrested him. We were able to recover property. And like I said, we're working to link him to some of the other larceny from vehicles that were in the area. So we're very happy about that. We're hoping that will squash, some of the thefts of vehicles. But we're keeping our eyes open. Now I know you said as far as to what's going on with the with the summer being out, school's out now, and our main thing is that we want the kids to have fun, but we want them to do it safely, and we want them to be courteous of their neighbors. And not only the kids, but our adult residents as well. But one of the main things that we're asking is that no basketball hoops in the street. That is a common complaint that we received. Every time it gets warm, kids, they want to go out, they want to have fun, but they want to pull the basketball rims out in the street, and it's a safety issue. Another one of the complaints that we run into is that the kids, they're chasing balls, they run across the street, they're not looking. So as a reminder to our residents, I'm giving them fair warning now. We have extra traffic enforcement out, and we're looking for any type of traffic, moving violations, speeding motorists, disobeying stop signs, yield signs, whatever it may be. So we're taking a strict zero tolerance approach as it relates to that as well. So we want the residents kind of be forewarned. One of the other complaints that we receive is the loud music. It's hot out, the windows are up, maybe mom and dad are gone, the kids are playing the music, having fun like teenagers often have. But we want them to just say, be respectful of your neighbors and have fun, but do it in a safe and respectful manner.
What about, I was going to ask you about noise. I'm glad that you brought that up. Generally speaking, what are the main requirements in terms of noise? Meaning you can't mow grass before 7 a.m. You can't play loud music. Obviously, it's sort of those common sense things. Can you speak about some of those general limitations on folks?
Yes, and you just spoke of two of probably the more popular ones, the mowing grass. You'll get that complaint. And like you said, you can't mow before 7 a.m. and you can't mow after 7 p.m. You get the loud music. One of the fallacies that some of our residents have about the loud music or noise in and of itself is that there's a specific time. Well, it's 10 o'clock now, so you have to shut the noise down. The ordinance does not specify a specific time. So, if you have a barking dog, which is another common one, and it could be, 6 or 7 o'clock in the afternoon, and the dog is just constantly barking nonstop. We understand that that's what they do, they bark. But it becomes, at some point, it becomes a nuisance or disturbance to your neighbors. You may have, residents or neighbors that work midnight shifts, so they're sleeping during, the early afternoon hours when, the rest of, the residents are up and going about their daily routine. So we have to be mindful and, respectful of that. The parks, our parks close at 10 o'clock. So I know, at 10 o'clock, it's barely getting dark out, and, the kids, they want to hang in the park, you want to stay there a little late. Absolutely no alcoholic beverages in the park. Everybody's aware of that. And like I said, those are really the main ones when you start talking about the noise issues. But just a reminder to our residents, there's no specific time limit as far as, between this time and that time as it relates to disturbing the peace, with the exception of the things that we talk about, that we talked about as far as the mowing the grass and a couple of others. So
Well, now that we're here in the month of July, obviously one of the big things that always seems to happen is related to fireworks. So could you talk a little bit about fireworks and what folks can watch out for? I know the laws changed and it's looking like it's going to change again and so forth.
Right. With the fireworks, we've become, I guess, a little more liberal as far as allowing the use of fireworks the day of, the day before, the day of, and the day after a holiday. You're allowed to, light off the fireworks. But you have to still, there's restrictions as it relates to that. You have to contain the fireworks to your specific area in your yard. You can't have bottle rockets or whatever it may be going off in the neighbor's yard. And then, like you said, that can be a disturbance or a noise ordinance issue as well. So we ask them to keep that in mind. And and one of the main things, we want them to be safe. We don't want some of our younger kids, juveniles out, playing with these fireworks. They can be very dangerous. And we ask that, the parents take ownership and make sure that they are under adult supervision anytime that they're engaging in any type of activity such as that.
Sure. So we talked about this in last month's show, but I just wanted to reiterate. So if people want to report a crime or contact public safety, just want to make sure that they know that none of the information has changed. So if people want to come into the station, they're still coming into the old entrance, and just speak just a little bit about that. And that will change, but up till we make an announcement that will change, it's not yet been done. So.
Right, and the residents may see more activity in the new complex, but we will definitely let them know when they can start to use that facility. Right now, business as usual. Use the current facility that we've always used, our reports, our properties released from that location, our records bureau is still housed there, our officers, our dispatch center. So for their purposes, nothing has changed. Continue to come to the current location. And we'll service them in the manner that they've been accustomed to.
Sure. Well, thanks again for joining me this month, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. My pleasure, boss.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for joining me this month and let you know that next month I'll be welcoming in Director of Technical and Planning Services, Director Rob Barrett. He will be discussing some of the things happening in our Technical and Planning Services Department. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.